Hey guys, it's Matt. If you're watching Netflix's 1899 and you're in the middle of it, I won't say anything about the ending. I won't reveal any bit of the last episode until the 5-minute mark. It might even be a few minutes past there. But you could stick with this until the 5-minute mark if you like, without any sort of spoilers whatsoever. It's also a TPS video. If you're driving, I can't show any of the movie, I can't show any of the series or anything like that, so it's just going to be thumbnails of which you don't even need to see. Now, 1899, it's getting critical acclaim. It came from the creators of the German series Dark, and that's so bowed down to and critically acclaimed. And I'm going to say on one hand, guys, this 1899 is nonsense. On the other hand, it's very good scene by scene. The settings are brilliant. The acting is brilliant. And it shows if they want to, they can still make something of very high quality. It's still a mess. And you don't know what the hell's going on. Even in episode 4, 5, 6, you're more confused than ever before. But scene by scene, it's very well done. So there's a lot of things going on here, guys. First off, it's not Thanksgiving anymore, but I'm thankful that I've came through this phase where 5 years ago or 4 years ago, if I would have seen this, oh boy, everything would have been broken down in Netflix's 1899. Why are they using the alchemical earth symbol hundreds and hundreds of times? Alchemical earth with the line through it. Without the line, it's alchemical water. It shows up hundreds of times. It's so ridiculously over the top. I mean, come on, guys, whoever created 1899, put some subtlety in it. Gigantic alchemical earth symbols all over the carpet and the girl's earrings painted on the floor. Come on, man. It's in the damn little metal piece that's above your door number or your suite. What do you call it in a cruise ship? Your cabin number. I should have learned that from the Love Boat. Your cabin number, it's there. It's all over the place. Oh, what does that mean? Look, 1899, that's the 999. That's the 666. Ooh, Matt better pause every scene and look at every painting and look at every hand symbol. What does the green beetle mean? There's a mysterious emerald green beetle that's kind of leading people around like Alice in Wonderland. Follow the white rabbit. Takes you further down the rabbit hole, but in this case, follow the emerald green mysterious beetles that unlocks doors and unlocks portals. I mean, what else is there? And it's just all over the place. Oh, the damn ship is called Kerberos, but it stems the lineage or the root Cerberus, the three-headed hellhound, the other ship that disappears. And I'll give you a plot summary, guys, in just a moment. The Prometheus, brought man fire and enlightenment. You know what? It wants me to break this shit down. And you know what I'd get out of it if I spent all this time breaking down exactly why they have such heavy use of the alchemical earth? You know what I'd get out of it for worry about yourself? Nothing. Nothing, honey. Waste of time. Well, that's what you've done, Matt. You've gotten to a certain point where you can't figure all this stuff out. You can't figure their intentions. So you have a convenient fallback, Matt. It's just you don't need to. It's a waste. Think whatever you want. We live in a goddamn a mouse circus. A cat. It's another cat toy. They're creating something for the masses. The masses don't have a clue some of the things that we'll see, but it's also created for the truthers. No doubt about it. And in a way, it's created for them, whether it be mockery or something else. It's another Lou. It's nice and it's tough. Say, I'm not going to spend time in putting forth my exact interpretation of the green beetle and the mysterious kid that keeps coming out of the cabinets. He carries around a pyramid. He carries around a pyramid. I mean, come on. It's a little over the top. And you know what? You can believe whatever you want. I'm not going to have the symbolism exactly analyzed and broken down, and I don't know exactly what their intention was, but you know what I see with this? It just turns into a complicated mess. I see a cat toy that's rattling that wants me to chase it. I'll never figure it out, and the worry about yourself philosophy is it's such a beautiful thing. We don't need to figure out one bit of this nonsense horse shit. Matt, we're almost 5 minutes in now, and Not only are you not giving away the ending, you haven't even given the basic plot summary from the first episode, you overly talkative son of a beach. I agree, I'm way too long-winded all over the place on this. It's going to be another 5 minutes before I give away the ending or the last episode if you want to continue to stick with me. But just a few more points before I introduce the basic plot, say 50 minutes into this 50 minutes into this video, not quite. Look at the ridiculous Star Wars, The Last Jedi, the purple-haired general. That's the same actress from Jurassic Park, isn't it? I wouldn't give a squirt of you-know-what for her. She was such a good actress, and then she did this horse shit. Yelling at Poe Flyboy, yelling at Poe Dameron or whatever. What is his name? Oscar Isaac, the creepiest actor in the history of the universe. What do you know, Flyboy? I mean, the characters suck. Scene by scene, Star Wars, it sucks. It's meant to suck. But the 1899 is, I'm going to turn off this image in just a moment in case anybody's eating. 1899 is the opposite of this, scene by scene. The characters are interesting. There's tension. There's real mood that's created. The settings, whether it's CGI or real props, are wonderfully done. The feel of the ship is incredibly well done. If you can watch something and just appreciate scene by scene and just appreciate the acting or the mood or some of the tension between certain characters, then you'll like it just by that, by itself. It's top tier in terms of filmmaking. Again, scene by scene, it's great, but in terms of how a plot unfolds or the storyboarding of it, how scene by scene and whatever action's taking place in episode 3 or 4 relates to episode 5 or 6, it doesn't. It goes down rabbit holes. It goes into mazes. There could be a huge plot point in episode 4 and some drama that doesn't relate in any way to episode 5 and 6. And then there's just endless mystery that in no way is ever reconciled. I will start to give a few spoilers away. The kid is thrown off the back of the ship, and I still need to introduce the basic plot, which I haven't even done. I'll do that next. Then he's back again. But all of this does come together via the ending, but it's unsatisfying how they try to bring it all together in the ending. In the endless maze, if you want to interpret it from a reality standpoint, there is an interpretation where you could say the endless maze and nonsense of it all actually does relate to one interpretation of the ending, which I'll talk about in a bit. But Matt, we're like 2 hours in and you haven't given the basic plot. I'll do it now. I appreciate your patience. If you have watched this, I'll try to keep this to under 4 minutes. If you are watching, there will be a spoiler in about 3 or 4 minutes from now. We find ourselves in the opening episode on the ship called the Kerberos, a group of passengers of different class, very similar in a way to the Titanic, making their way across the Atlantic, it seems, to New York from Europe. Top right image, we meet these passengers in the dining car. They come from a wide variety of diverse backgrounds, class, money, ethnicities, Japanese, French, German, all over the place. There's also a steerage class where they're basically locked away down there with Jack and his friend Maurizio. But the feel of this ship is much more believable than what James Cameron presented in the Titanic. It's dark, and when you look out the window, you see a very ominous ocean. It's just very, very well done, and there is tension between characters right from the start. Couldn't be much better as it opens up. Okay, now there's a mysterious transmission with coordinates. The ship's crew, I believe, is German. There's a variety of different languages spoken in the show, but there's just enough subtitles where if you really bothers you, if everything's subtitled, there's just enough, plenty of English where the subtitles won't bother you. They do a variety of different languages, unlike Dark that was completely set in German. But the German crew and the captain comes forth and tells these passengers they want to get to New York. We have these coordinates, and we believe it's of this ship that went missing 4 months ago called the Prometheus. Of course, we must go investigate it. We must see if there are any survivors, etc., etc. The passengers, of course, mostly selfish. A lot of the passengers and the characters we meet in the show are real assholes. You know, it's typical like what we saw on the Titanic. in the movie. Hey, I want to get to New York. I don't give a shit about this SOS message or what coordinates you're receiving. This ship, we all know, vanished, the Prometheus, 4 months ago. And, forget it. Just take us to New York. And they're really pissed that the captain is going to decide to divert this ship and go try to find this ship adrift at sea where you would think everybody would be dead after 4 months of no food. Captain says basically the passengers, screw you, I'm going to check it out. And then it creates even more tension. Through the second episode, really doing a great job at laying down, I guess, the building blocks of what we hoped would come forward until it became an absolute mess. 7, 8 hours of setting a new course in the fog and the dark. They come across the ship at sea, adrift, the Prometheus. The setting is incredible. The feel is great. It's dark. It's adrift. There's not a single light on over there. And they decide to put a little mini crew together in a rowboat, I guess it is, to row over and check it out. The star of the show, a woman as a doctor, the captain, and a few others. When they get there, they find a single passenger on this gigantic ship, the boy that becomes the central character, the boy that I don't think he speaks for 3 episodes, and when he does speak, it's 1 or 2 words at a time. This mysterious kid they find locked away in this cabinet that becomes central to the whole mess that starts to unfold in terms of where the plot goes and how complicated everything starts to get. So, probably the beginning or the middle of the second episode, they row back to the Kerberos from the Prometheus, the captain, few mates, and the doctor, and they have this boy who's, 10, 11 years old. No other remains, no corpses, no passengers, no nothing on the Prometheus except this boy. Now, this is where, if you gave this to me and to you listening, or I'm sure there's 5 of you out there that have incredible imaginations that can write stories, me and Greg, and we book us into the room. We all we went down and said, do not disturb, book us into the room. We could make one of the greatest series of all time. Me, Greg, you, and 2 or 3 other creative people listening. There's no doubt about it. Just the people here. We could put forth, we had this to work with. We had the budget. They're giving us this as the first episode. And Matt, and you listening, we have all these characters to work with. And here's how much time you have. We could easily create one of the greatest series of all time. Yet me, you, Greg, and a couple other people. The hardest part is getting started. They've done a brilliant job with it. Again, they bring us in, forget the room, they bring us into the Hollywood studio. Matt, Greg, you, and a few others. Here's what we've done so far. Here's the first episode. Here's when they go over the Prometheus, find the boy. Now you guys have to take it from here. Be like, really? Thanks a lot. We're now going to create one of the greatest series of all time. The hardest part is getting started. There's so many places you can go with this. Even if you wanted just a copy off the Event Horizon, just copy. It still would be cool. The ship went to hell and came back. You could do anything with this. But those people that did the dark, they're supposed to be these super geniuses. They made a mess. They made an absolute mess. Much worse if you come home and your dog has got in your flower pot and the dirt's everywhere. That times 1,000,000,000 is what they ruined it. It seems like the same thing. They ruined it on purpose? Maybe. Guys, I'm not going to, I could talk for hours on this. There's no point. I'll do 30 seconds or less. All these little twists and turns and character interactions that mean nothing. And the mutiny on the ship is somewhat interesting for a while. Then passengers start jumping overboard, and guy pulls out a little control panel, makes a ship disappear, and they teleport here. It just does. You don't know what people going into portals, coming out of portals, going into portals, coming into a different environment, completely new realities. Damn, Alchemical Earth is written on everything. Of course, there's scenes that are, there's San Francisco scenes. There's San Francisco scenes. Oh, yeah, you think that was going to not be in here? All this horse shit. It's a mess. Episode 3, if you're listening to me, Creators of the Dark, mess. Episode 4, mess. 5, mess. 6, mess. Some interesting little subplots. It doesn't mean jack shit. You don't know what this Prometheus, why is it empty? What's the role of the boy? It's just all over the place. One more time, mess. And you creators who wrote The Dark should be ashamed of yourself for messing up what could have been absolutely great based on an episode and a half. Warning, ending and spoiler. Last episode ending revealed now. Danger, Will Robinson, danger. So after thousands of character interactions and 100 subplots, episode 3, episode 4, 5, 6, you find out, oh, it was all a simulation. They're really these main characters are on a spaceship running a simulation to pass the time. Basically, making everything that happened and the 8.5 hours you put into it completely meaningless. They're on a spaceship. It's a simulation. It's the same characters that are on the Kerberos ship that went to see the Prometheus, but they're on a spaceship, like standing in their Borg 7 of 9 alcove, probably on their way to go visit Elon Musk. It's just a sim. And then the brother, who she's searching for her brother on the ship, the Kerberos, when she thinks that's reality, just like when we're in a dream, we think that's real, and then we wake up. It's the same though. You guys that did The Dark are just geniuses. The brother, I don't know how to pronounce the name, but it's spelled Ciaran. Really? Oh, they're in, somehow Ciaran is involved in this psyop who put her sister into this sim so he could do some dastardly things. The name's Ciaran. Really? Come on, sir. What a waste. Let me talk to the showrunners right now. That's the term all the movie reviewers use that just popped up out of nowhere overnight. Matt, you think it's a Mandela effect? No, but it proves the download, it proves the radio station, it proves the frequency. They're all 3 ways of saying the same thing. It's the download. The showrunners at Amazon Prime's Rings of Power, they hate the fans. Yeah, so I'll just say the showrunners who made 1899 in The Dark, if you're going to waste our time, why don't you warn us before the show starts with like a disclaimer? Don't just say the disclaimer up top, smoking, mature scenes, some partial nudity, alcohol use. Say this entire series, if you invest in it, will waste your time. That should be right after smoking and right before partial alcohol use. However, to say if you appreciate brilliant cinematography and scene-by-scene movie making and direction, and tension between characters, like I'm showing you here, the fog, the ship, the setting, the dark, ominous ocean out the back is wonderful. I'm upset because there's so much that could have been done with this, other than the horse shit. They'll present the masses, and then they'll present another Chase the Rabbit bunch of horse shit for the truthers. I mean, with just, even things I didn't even mention. It's called the Kerberos. The gigantic, it's the symbol is alchemical earth throughout, but also the triangle by itself. The movie poster, the triangle, Kerberos, Cerberus, 3-headed hellhound. I mean, well, Matt, what do they mean by that? Who cares? Who cares? It has nothing to do with worry about yourself. If I have to take meaning away from this, and if I didn't present this part, like, why are you tuning into this channel? So I'm still going to do this. If I have to take meaning away from this Alice in Wonderland remake abomination, 1899 Netflix, it is Alice in Wonderland. Okay, what happens at the end of Alice in Wonderland? It was all for nothing. She wakes up. Okay, she wakes up. You could actually take the Alice in Wonderland ending further, because she is being chased by the queen and all the nasty things in Wonderland, trying to get through the lock at the end, and she sees herself, which could be, your incarnation here, viewing your higher self being asleep, the return of you to higher self. You can get into that in the last episode, the last 5 minutes of Alice in Wonderland. But this 1899 it's the same basic message. All this crap that happened that everybody thought was so real and so important, just waking up from a dream. How many times you done that? It was like, oh yeah, all that shit, what was a dream? That's all it was. What do you think's going to happen when you die? The same thing. Oh, that's what that was. Oh, okay, that makes sense. And we think all this shit is so. The message is in this Alice in Wonderland abomination, 1899 Netflix. It's Alice in Wonderland. That's all it is. Just completely in a different way. It's not made to make sense. Why are some of these guys running around with little devices they can teleport ships in and out? What did that have to do with anything? It's all confusing nonsense. Episode 4, 5, 6, 7, and it's just like at the end of the day, it was just a sim. And the brother says, "Welcome to reality." You know, Alice wakes up. Oh, all that horse shit was, I chased the white rabbit. The damn queen came after me. When the playing cards came after me with their plastic swords. It was all a dream. That's the message. Saying, don't take this life so seriously. It'll just make sense when you die, or at some point it will just all make sense. It's that simple? Yeah, of course it's that simple. The fact they make it so complicated tells you it's that simple. Okay, well, Matt, you're screwed because you're not associated with a big religion. I'll take my chances. There's other things in 1899 to look at, like we're going to look at now. But if you don't want to go any further with this, it's just a reminder, and it's a life analogy that what happened in 1899, all that shit on the shit on the ship was so important. Person woke up, oh, I'm in a sim, I'm in space, I'm in a completely different environment. That was all bullshit. Same thing, it's just a life analogy. This life to the next. The dream shows you, you wake up from a dream, then it's going to be the same ratio. This life to the next is this life to a dream. We'll talk about dreams some other time. I have some theories there that I haven't shared, and I want to talk through. But it is that simple. That's the basic presentation. And if you get too caught up in all the horse shit and all the confusion that the series generates in episodes 3 through 7, you could miss the basic point. You come out the end, it's very simple. It's 2 sentences, and it makes everything else a complete waste of time. Now, there's a scene in, I don't know what it's episode 4 maybe, where, is it a frequency or a sound, where most of the ship just starts marching towards the railing in the back to just jump to their death over the railing into the icy waters. You just assume they're like in the North Atlantic, like the Titanic. It looks pretty nasty, and if you fall in, you are done for. I mean, the sea is presented very ominously, and that's very well done, like I mentioned. So here, the image, if you can't see it, it's the passengers marching like automatons and zombies to get to the upper deck so they can just simply jump and throw themselves off the rail. And one person here not going along with it, there ends up probably being, I don't know, the 10 or 12 main characters in the show, or 8 to 10 characters not going along with it, that are not affected by the frequency of these NPCs. She's just staring as people walk by. Now, again, it turns out that when they, quote, wake up at the end of the show, and the doctor aboard the ship was really passing time in a sim on this spaceship called the Prometheus, the other main characters who were in different cabins, who were interacting with each other in the show, they're all also in or on the spaceship. I don't know if I mentioned that or was clear about that. I guess in a way it's a shared sim between all of them to pass the time. So these are, again, the real people. There's 10 to 12 or so on the spaceship running a sim that they believe they're in 1899 on a ship. They're not, they are real people because the body is asleep in cryo or whatever in the Borg alcove. They're not the NPCs. The NPCs, now what causes, or they don't really explain it, why they just throw themselves overboard, where the sound or frequency came from. They don't explain it, but they don't do a good job explaining 100 scenes in this weird-ass show. But to me, I saw it was like, this is like an NPC presentation. When they're all interacting in the dining car, you think, oh, everybody's on equal standing. Everybody's as real as everybody else. One of the lessons, well, I've learned, whether you agree with me or not, that there are several different types of people here. All men are created equal. Well, Bill Melvin P is not the same as you and me. Oh, that could be a song. Melvin P is not the same as you and me. Blah, blah, blah. There could be NPC types, automatons, different types, where their souls are animated differently or spiritually animated. Something has to animate the body. That doesn't mean they're not real in terms of flesh and blood, but what spiritually animates the flesh and blood. And the presentation in 1899, not worth seeing, in my opinion. If I were you, I'd turn this off after episode 2. It's great. 1 and 2 is really cool. I'd watch 1 and 2. But the NPCs just, they get the frequency, they get the download, whatever the sound is, and they just plunge off to their death. That's what I took away from it. There isn't no interpretation watching the show what the hell's going on. These showrunners are sniffing glue. Now you're using the term, Matt, showrunners. Are you on the download? No, but I've seen so many of these damn movie reviews bitching and complaining about the Rings of Power. It's become part of my vocabulary. I use it just for fun. The showrunners. What the hell's a showrunner? Also, another reality interpretation. Again, the same image here. The Japanese woman is still on the spacecraft, the shared sim, but she's experiencing something in, quote, this life, or her life on the Kerberos, completely different from who she is. So they have her in the opening scene painted in traditional 1850s Japanese all-white face, like the equivalent of a female samurai. Here she's, the whole ship is breaking down and she's without her makeup. Most you see her in the traditional complete white makeup. I don't know what I want to say geisha, but isn't that a prostitute? I saw the movie about geishas. They were prostitutes. Well, they're not prostitutes, Matt. If you watch the movie closely, that's right. They just kind of entice the man without the sex. Whatever. She looked like I don't know how else to describe her. I don't mean to be disrespectful, honey. But the point is she's experiencing, also she's a virgin. She's experiencing something that she is not, of course, on the spaceship. So some would say, in this reality, we are here, the Alan Watts view, experiencing something, having an experience that we can't have, something that we're not. So, Matt, you lucky son of a beach, your experience is sitting around a room with cats peeing all over the house in frayed sweatshirts. Well, hey, it's still a different experience. Well, my higher self might be somewhere else, but hey, it's not bad at times. I'm going to crack a beer tonight and put the Nutcracker on again. Not that Nutcracker, the Nutcracker music. It's pretty good. Kind of like what I said about the cats. Somebody could knock at the door tonight and say, "Are you Matt McKinley?" Yeah. We have a NetJets, is it? Yeah, NetJets fueled up in Philadelphia. It'll take you anywhere you want to go. When you get there, all expenses paid. In that $20 Japanese hotel room where there's only 5, not in that. No, in the grand suite, it's all expenses paid. Room service, massage. You can go anywhere in the world, all on us. What do I have to give you back in return? Nothing. We want nothing. And here's the documentation. Where you want to go, Matt? I go nowhere. You want to stay here? Yeah. I'm going to go downstairs and watch another episode 1899. As soon as I get down there, that damn Addy Cat's going to jump right on my lap. For hours, it'll just sit there. I don't want to do anything else but that. I don't want to go anywhere. I don't want to do anything. Thanks for listening. And you're like, I think.